Hello, bonjour and welcome to your new Bonheur Private Wines video. I know I probably look a little bit like an elf or a little Santa's helper with this hat on, so I'll take it off if you don't mind. It was just to set the mood. One drawback that I really find that annoys me during or before the holiday season is all of the gift ideas that you have to find and fulfill. So I thought I'd help you a little bit with that. If you have wine-loving friends or family members and you want to surprise and please them with some wine-related gifts, and I know I have quite a few of those already around me. It looks like it was Christmas this morning, perhaps for me. No, it wasn't. Another few days to wait. Now, I'm not going to give you a list of useless gadgets, funny items, or fancy wine-related decorations, because everyone does that in all wine publications at this time of the year, with all of those lists of top 10 gifts for wine lovers, suggesting things that yes, you can gift, for sure you can buy them and they'll happily sell them to you, but stuff that will just be stored in a drawer somewhere and forgotten about as soon as January comes around. I want to give you 3 very simple ideas of wine items that I think can actually be very useful and used in the long run by your close ones who love vino. You'll understand what I mean as we go, and I'll also give you some thoughts on specific wine gift types that seem to be a good idea on paper, but just end up taking space and being useless. Let's go. My fellow wine-loving friends, Julien here. Before we get started with the video, there's something that you have to know. This video was made possible by the Bonheur Private Wine Partnership. The reason I work with them is not just because it's been called the most unique wine club in America, might be part of the reason, but because they truly love the wines that they choose, and I do too. You can check them out through the link in the video description, and I'll tell you more about them at the end of this video. But let's get into our Christmas video for now. Now, if you ask me, I find wine aerators, wine bottle stands, wine preservers and other wine gadgets to be rather, if not completely useless. Of course, some people might like one item in particular and use it, but if they do, chances are they already have it, they already have one of those, and they probably won't find whatever you can think of to gift them to be very useful a gadget. So, to get around this problem, I'd recommend focusing on things every wine lover has to have. The very basics, the essentials. And this starts with, of course, a corkscrew. The downside of this idea is that every wine lover already has one. But do they already have a nice one that they really love, that they care about, and one that comes, more importantly, from somebody they love? Well, if they do, well, skip to chapter 2 of this video and my next suggestion. But if they don't, and you are this loved one you think that they would be happy to receive a nice corkscrew from, so you can share in the future this connection with them, and of course a few bottles of wine together, here's your good idea. I say, look out for something really simple, like a waiter's corkscrew shape. No need to find these complicated, fancy corkscrews that are expensive and often take a lot of space and useless. Just one of those is nice, especially if you look out for nice material, like fine, beautiful wood, some nice metal as well. You can get them customized with the person's name on it or a personalized message. And that's your connection right here. Very simple with this person, and of course, especially the more bottles of wine you're going to share with that person, the more connection you're going to have and create thanks to this little object. I personally have this little corkscrew that has my name on it. It simply says Julien, but I love it because it reminds me of that person every time I use it. Of course, you could always go with gifting a wine decanter. Some of them are pretty nice, but most wine lovers really already have one and they probably don't really need another one. They beg, they take up a lot of space, and they might end up not being used at all and forgotten about in a cupboard somewhere. While a wine glass, well, if there's one item that every wine connoisseur needs or could do with, could use to enjoy their wine better, well, it's a good wine glass. And I would argue that a lot of us, I'm including myself in here, are a bit reluctant to buy themselves a really nice, a little expensive wine glass. You kind of want to when you see them at the wine shop, but you don't necessarily go ahead and buy it. Even if you're dreaming about it, you don't necessarily go ahead because they cost a fair bit of money, and your significant one, your lady, may not be all that happy about it because they take up a bit of space as well. But if you are gifted a very good, unusual and beautiful wine glass, well, chances are you'll be happy about it and you'll end up loving it because they're so nice. So if you have a wine-loving friend or relative, chances are they will love to be gifted a good wine glass or two. So here's what I would do. Buy 2 glasses of some of the nicest wine glasses you can find. More than 2 might end up being too big a case, and if it's only one, well, chances are it's going to break very quickly, and that's not going to be so nice. So 2 or 3 to me is a good number. Generally speaking, the more expensive the wine glass is, the finer the glass, the crystal is going to be, the more sophisticated the shape is going to be. Look at this one, it's actually very elegant and beautiful. So with 2 large glasses, many wine lovers don't actually have big bowls of wine glasses that look really good, while they end up, and they are extremely good for tasting powerful red wines, an old Pinot Noir for example. Those often come, this kind of shape, as the burgundy red type of wine glass denomination. You might be able to find some really interesting and beautiful shapes like this one or that one, for example. If you really want to go with something different, you can go with one of these rather large shapes that have a really narrow opening, just like this one. Those are fantastic to concentrate intensely the aromas in the bowl and really allow you to smell the wines extremely precisely at this very narrow opening that they have. I don't have one here to demonstrate, but they're really fantastic to decompose every aspect of the aromatic profile. They're not necessarily the best glasses to enjoy drinking a wine, drinking it easily, enjoying it, but they're really fun to have on hand when you really want to taste something special and analyze every aspect of it. So any wine lover would really love, I think, having one of those. And you could also go with those type of black glasses. Again, those are not great for enjoying the wine really, but fun to have if you ever want to have a real blind tasting without being influenced by the color / appearance of a wine. And very, very few people have any of those. So what do you think? I'm guessing you're perhaps now hoping Santa thinks of gifting you one of these for Christmas, right? I have those, but if I had not, I would definitely expect Santa now to be gifting me one of those. What do you think? Is that a good idea? And I know, and I suspect what you're probably thinking, Julien, how about gifting a good wine book? Well, sure, possibly a good idea, but do you know how to find a good wine book that you really know your loved one or your close one is actually going to enjoy reading? Well, this would take knowing the person really well and perhaps having read the book entirely yourself to really know whether he or she is going to like it. I know from experience that a wine book that looks good on paper is not necessarily going to appeal to someone else enough so they actually end up reading it thoroughly. Most wine books that are gifted end up on a shelf and never get really appreciated fully. my opinion. Of course, there's going to be exceptions. If you know the person really well, they read a lot of books, they're really into wine, they're studying wine, there are some Bibles of wine books that you can get. But one gift that might end up being very, very useful, I wanted to mention it to you. And perhaps I say this because I wish someone would gift one of those to me. This is a tool that is called Coravin or Coravin. It allows you to extract just one glass out a bottle of wine without removing the cork. It has a needle that goes through and it replaces the empty space, not with air, which would introduce some oxygen and lead the wine to be spoiled, but it replaces it with a neutral gas that won't change the wine at all, namely argon. So in principle you could just pour yourself a glass of wine like I've just did, maybe even a little bit less, taste the wine and find out whether it's still good, if it needs to age a little bit more, or if it's the right taste for your next dinner party. And you do not need to actually open the bottle of wine. You could in principle put the rest of the bottle back in your cellar for longer after tasting it if you find that the flavors are not appropriate or whatnot you expected from them. And that's pretty cool. This is potentially life-changing, or relatively wine lovers life-changing, for any serious wine connoisseur, wine enthusiast that love to cellar their wine. The drawback is it's pretty expensive for a gift, from $200 to over $500 depending on the model, and you have to buy on top of that the capsules of argon regularly, so you have to be sure the person is really going to use it. But if it's someone you love, if you know they don't have one of them and they are serious about their vino, chances are any wine connoisseur would be thrilled to find a Coravin below the Christmas tree this holiday season. At least I think so. Now, one last thought really, if none of this has convinced you yet, there is one thing that is absolutely always going to please a wine lover as a gift, guaranteed 99% satisfaction, and that's of course just a good bottle of wine. I guess we think we need to give something big or something durable, an object, but in fact when you think about it, a bottle of wine for someone who can appreciate it is sure to be really satisfying and useful, while a gadget, a wine book or any other fancy wine tools that you may find on the internet may well end up forgotten about in a drawer for years with no final purpose. So up to you, but those were my thoughts on simple but thoughtful wine gifts for the holidays. And I'll leave it here for today. I will see you soon in the wonderful world of wine. I will have another video for you next week, but in case I don't see you again before Christmas, have a lovely and Merry Christmas everyone, and have a good glass of vino for me. I will one have for you right now. See you soon in the wonderful world of wine. Cheers. As I was telling you, this video was made possible by this wine club called the Bonner Private Wine Partnership. With the Bonner Wine Club, we're releasing weekly wine education videos so you can become an expert and get to know everything that I know about wine. I'm sharing everything. So head over to their channel and subscribe to get your weekly fix of awesome wine content from me, like this one, and even further. We're going deeper with this series. Then if you want even more access to newer wine videos from me and learn even faster, plus receiving extraordinary wines that we select from all around the world, well, consider becoming a partner of the Bonner Wine Club. Link in the video description. Founded by Bonner, the partnership is a small group of wine lovers who have come together to import to the US excellent small batch wines that might otherwise get completely overlooked by large importers. A great opportunity to get access to small batch wines. Right now you can get your hands on 3 rare extreme altitude red wines from Argentina, from some of the purest, highest vineyards in the entire world, way up in the Andes Mountains. No middlemen here, no additive packed supermarket wines, no inflated costs. Make sure to check out the link in the video description to learn more about this exclusive wine club and get more wine videos. But for now, yeah, I'll see you soon in the wonderful world of wine.